Hello, I'm Jessica Williams, Curator of History and Collections at the Intrepid Museum. We are here in our collection storage space continuing our look at flight helmets from Intrepid's collection. In the last video, we looked at and talked about some of our World War II flight helmets, and today we're moving into the jet age. Now, at this point, aircraft are flying faster, they're flying higher. Also, during the jet age, we have the introduction of ejection seats, and when a pilot ejects, subjects the pilot to winds and cold temperatures, and they require more head protection. Also, these helmets, unlike the World War II helmets, are made out of harder materials to protect a pilot's head against impact. As you can see, this is a hard helmet. It has these ridges on the top which reinforce the helmet. And looking at it from the outside here, you can see, just like the World War II helmets, this helmet does not have any goggles or visor on it, but there were attachments where you could snap goggles into the helmet and adjust them using these tabs. There's also attachments for a microphone, which could be attached right here. Now, one interesting thing about this helmet is that there still is a fabric helmet inside of it. It's actually in two pieces. And so the headphones with this donut that went around the pilot's ear to help insulate from noise is here on the inside on the separate helmet, which is the separate fabric helmet, which then attaches to the rigid part on the outside. So it is a kind of a combination of the World War II helmet with this extra protective exterior. So now if we take a look at this helmet over here, this is more typical of the helmets that would have been worn on board Intrepid in the 1960s through the ship's decommissioning in 1974. This particular helmet was owned by a pilot named Bill Litwin. He earned his wings as a naval aviator in 1953, and he flew off Intrepid beginning in 1961 with Squadron VA-65. He flew the A-1 Skyraider off Intrepid, and he had hundreds of arrested landings on board the carrier. And so we look at this helmet, and there are some similarities here. It's another rigid helmet, but there are some changes here as well. One thing to note about this one is it is now all one piece. So there is not a separate fabric lining inside here. So we can look inside and see the padding for earphones inside the helmet, not attached to a separate piece of fabric. You can see that it's styrofoam essentially here on the inside. And then if we look at the outside, we'll notice another big change here is that there is a visor that's integrated into the helmet. So the knob is missing from this one, but there was a little knob that the pilot could use to lower down this visor here to get some eye protection built right into the helmet. One thing I think is very distinctive about this helmet is that you can see it's covered on the outside with reflective tape. And pilots like to personalize their helmets, often using reflective tape like this. And that's something that we will talk a little bit more about in a future video. Pilots weren't the only crew members on board Intrepid who required head protection. In our next video, we're going to look at other examples of helmets in the collection. For more behind-the-scenes videos, visit intrepidmuseum.org.